I've been doing photography since I was about 12 years old. Used to do traditionally landscape, set up a darkroom when I was at school, and that I used to do wet prints, and then basically just did it as a hobby for years and years and years. And then about 6 or 7 years ago I thought, change of profession, what can I do? Decided on photography because a few friends said you were really good at photography, and so I take a lot of the work that I do from traditional landscapes and then incorporate models into them, which is why I'm more of a outdoorsy location photographer. So all in all, professionally I've been doing it for about 4 or 5 years now, and just work from there. Today is a concept I've been working on for a few years, which is called the Dark Carnival. It's an idea that I had to take traditional carnival characters but have them sort of dark and tormented as if they've been lost in the woods for 20 years. The carnival's ended, but they're still living as carnival people. So they're in the woods, they have twisted versions of themselves. So we have like a marionette puppet, but she's actually used her veins as strings to be held from. We have a stilt walker who just walks lost in the woods. The ringmaster is going to be sort of like zombified, and we have his like assistant who's like wearing a haggard corset and that, still trying to retain the drama and presence of what she used to be in her former role in the carnival, but lost, decrepit, dead, basically.
We were originally talking about a Ghost of the Moulin Rouge shoot, and it just kind of spiralled into this but kept elements of it, so it was kind of a case of, you better let me do this one. I just bullied my way in.
Andy had this concept for the Dark Carnival, started running it by me, character ideas and what can we do, what can't we do, and me being me, I started running with it. What we've basically got here is a clown who wanted to give himself a more permanent smile. So he's gone for the old and then put it all back together with safety pins. Using a really basic old school method to actually get this on. Latex and cotton wool. Pins are real, rust is real. Actually pinning them through his face would have been cheating, so. But once he's got all this on, once we put the face on, we've got the nice gnarly wig, we should bring together a whole interesting ensemble of a really freaky, creepy character.
I know Andy's from a while back, and he's my partner's playing the stripper anyway. I was going to be doing the lighting assistant role, but we've had a couple of people not able to make it, so I filled in and become the happy one. I'm normally behind the camera rather than in front of it.
So has it been enlightening?
It's been interesting, yeah, definitely. It's been a lot of fun as well. It's different to a normal one, just because you can actually really get into the role and you don't have to just sort of stand there and just try and do a classic pose or something.
It's good fun. I don't think I really work for anything other than darker shoots. I'm not like a traditional model, so it means I get to have a lot of fun and get into character with it.
Yeah, I do try to err more onto the sort of macabre side of things, and I like to work a lot with performance people as well. I've done a lot of work with like stilt performers and five performers previously, and I like my photography, even though it's static, I like it to be visual and have movement and presence to it. So that's why I use a lot of performers in it to get that kind of thing, rather than like traditional models and the stilted poses on a plain white background. That doesn't inspire me. This kind of work is what it's my passion, and that's how I take from that.
I like the contact. I almost brought some of those.
There's no pressure on me to get this right now, is there?
Oh, and you've even got the,
I've seen him on Facebook quite a lot. Seen quite a lot of the work on there, and I've kind of been just waiting for the right opportunity to try and get involved. And on a weekend that I'm off and can come up this way, because I'm about 2 hours in said direction. So it's been quite a nice experience, and finally getting to work with Andy, because I've seen his work for like the last year. And I also worked with a girl that used to work with, Fran Webster, who was a burlesque performer who's amazing. And I've seen all the pictures he's done with her, and it's like, I must work with this man, must work with him. It does all the gory stuff, which is awesome. All the alternative, fun stuff, not all the boring, that stuff.
It's so beautiful, isn't it? Oh, there we go, we got a pine cone. There we go.
Severed limbs, we've got intestines, we've got chains, we've got blood. We've got some really interesting makeups on the go. The ringmaster himself is quite an intriguing one.
I used to watch a TV series when I was a kid called The Tribe, which was all done down in New Zealand. It's made in the 90s, and one of the kind of tribes in it called Tribe Circus, and they're sort of quite sort of twisted sort of people, bog standard sort of circus characters, fire breathers, clowns, but sort of twisted kind of personalities. And their leader was a very kind of twisted looking guy called Top Hat, and that kind of was what gave me sort of the kick really for this shoot. I thought, excellent, kind of almost recreate him. I'm pretty chuffed with this one so far. I know we've had a few kind of dropouts for various reasons, but it's still held together quite nicely. But in terms of sort of, I guess you could say, concept, this is fairly normal for the sort of thing I do. Looks wise not so much, but in terms of theme, I am primarily an alternative model. I love the weird and wonderful, the dark, the twisted, that kind of thing, so this is right up my alley.
I've been modelling for about 3 years. I do mostly vintage reproduction, especially 50s pin-up. I've been performing as a burlesque artist for a year now. So I've done a little bit of gothic bits before, but this is quite different. So I was quite excited about this one. I love shoots with a concept, with a story behind them. I much prefer them to say, you know, stick you in an underwear or whatever over there under studio lighting. I love location work, and I love something with a story behind it. I love having a character to play with. You can get some lovely shots in the studio, but I just find you can be so much more creative when you've got a location to work with as well.
I do occasionally do studio work when it's called for. Obviously if it's for a commercial client that may want studio work, I'll do studio work. But for my own personal work, location every single time for me. I love the environment, I love the outdoors like this. It inspires me. It's trying to, like I say, it's integrating models into the environment and working with what we have to set a scene. It tells more of a story to me because it's more of a visual stimulus for me.
It's always a bit of a gamble as to whether or not people are going to get what you're trying to do if you're doing something that's different to the norm, and yeah, I think that's mainly my concern, that people are going to be like, who does she think she is, when I'm not trying to do something glamorous and attractive with this kind of shoot at all.
Just so that I can get in as many little creases into your foundation as possible. This is so backwards to everything that I'm normally doing.
Shiny, shiny.
Shiny, shiny.
It's all very interesting.
Yes, turning me into
an Oompa Loompa.
I'm actually a friend of Billy's. I'm mostly her agent, and that she gave me a call and said that they needed a Harlequin and would I be up for it, considering I've done a few shoots, and I thought I might as well. The most unusual thing I've had to do would be I did a nude shoot where I had to wear a pig's mask and lay on a blanket that looked like bacon. So that would probably be one of the most unusual things I've done. But it's really, really alternative. I really do enjoy this, especially the artwork. It's been quite brilliant. And it's just quite a good concept, so I'm really excited.
I mean, we've been planning to work on some crazy shoots for quite a while, so just kind of went from there. Look up for me.
This is actually one of the biggest shoots I've ever done. Most people have got 7 people here today, so it's logistically this one's been very interesting to do, to say the least, because I've had people drop out last minute, had to find replacements, and so there is a lot of preparation that goes into it. This actual project has took me about 8 weeks now, from when I first thought, right, I want to do this shoot, to being able to come to this date now to start shooting.
Finally, we've got the marionette, who is going to be very, very interesting, because the strings are actually going to be the veins and sinews from her own arms, and she is going to be puppeteered by a stilt walker. So that's somewhere in the region of 20 metres worth of sinew that I've actually made from scratch. Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. It's been hanging up in my kitchen for the last 3 weeks now, like wonderful little Christmas bunting.
And what are we doing at the moment?
At the moment, putting cracks in because we've got China doll. Still got to do the full makeup on the face, still got to put the eyelashes on the arms. We've got these little babies that we're going to finish off, put the veins in there, nails are crackle glazed. Hands have got to be finished. We're getting there.
It was hard to get it like, because one seemed longer that they seemed longer and too long, some of them, and then the leg ones as well needed to be wrapped around, and it was trying to get them all wrapped around the right length. But it was good. And sitting on brambles.
Shoot, shoot, shoot. Do your research. Start simple, but never be afraid to try more complicated things. If it goes wrong, the great thing with digital photography now is, if you take a photo and it doesn't work, you can shoot another, you can shoot another, you can shoot another. It's experimental, and just experiment, come up with really unique and different ideas, because that's what stands out now. That's what magazines want. They don't want generic, stilted, white background in a studio. They want sort of dynamic, interesting and bizarre. The more wild you can get. Photography now, everything's been done over and over again. This shoot's been done by many people, but it's just that I put my own take on it, and that's what people should do, is put their own take, put their mark onto the shoot.
What are you looking forward to most? What do you
Getting home and getting dry. It's raining. It's pissing it down. I am soaked. Right, the weather is teasing us. The skies open up and it is beautiful and warm and sunny, and then it does this. Can you see that? Water falling from the sky with great magnitude. The joys and pitfalls of working outside. Rant over.